Two of the biggest tournaments in all of college basketball are here in the city this week. The Big East tournament, of course, at the Garden, the ACC tournament at the Barclays Center. This, of course, all leads up to Selection Sunday. To help us get ready for all this, we bring in Dan Gavitt. We welcome him back, who's the Senior Vice President for Basketball for the NCAA and Division I Men's Basketball Committee Chair, Mark Hollis. Gentlemen, thanks for being here for the maiden voyage.
This is an exciting day for you guys.
Yeah, it certainly
Glad to be part of it.
50 floors up. So we know what we've been doing. What's the selection committee doing in New York this week?
Well, we have our 10-member committee that comes in and meets starting on Wednesday morning, and of course, right up until about 5:15 on Sunday when we release the bracket at 5:30, and the committee will be selecting, seeding, and bracketing the field for the 2017 tournament.
All right, Cincinnati coach Mick Cronin made some news saying that the committee takes in, makes their decisions based on ticket sales. Both of you guys strongly refuted that. Just talk to that issue. You guys claim there's nothing to that.
Yeah, there really isn't. Mick's got a great team at Cincinnati. I understand his overall point about it being a big business. It is a big business. It's a hugely popular event. But the assertion that, that there are decisions made in the selection and seeding and bracketing process to drive ticket sales is just untrue. Frankly, in the last 3 years alone, there hasn't been one team that's moved up or down a seed line for any reason. We've really worked hard to make sure they protect the integrity of that seed line.
Please speak to it as well.
Yeah, and I think as you go through the process, 90% of the tickets are already sold for this year's tournament. So having to have a situation where you're trying to drive tickets from that perspective, not even an issue.
Was it tough? You guys used to curveballs on Sunday. Was it tough to get the curveball already?
No, not really. I think the great thing about it is as you're looking at the bracketing process, it's that there's a principles document that's very public, and that principles document is laid out. And if you're the first team on any line, you're going to get an advantage. You're going to get an advantage from a geographical perspective. And I think that's good for the fans. It's good for the student athletes. It's good for the teams that have earned that spot. And when you're in the room, that's the way it's played out. There's never a discussion about it.
All right. It's obvious that the judging of mid-majors has certainly changed over time. let's think back to the heyday, 1985. A mid-major, you looked at, what are they doing here? Now they make plenty of noise. How has it changed over time, the judging of mid-majors?
I'm not sure it has changed a whole lot. What has changed is the conference realignment. Schools have moved from one conference to another. You mentioned 1985, with Villanova and Georgetown playing a championship game. They would now no longer be considered mid-majors. They're playing in the Big East Conference,
sure.
A major conference that had last year's national champion. You've had moves like Creighton and Butler and Xavier from smaller conferences into the Big East. You've had the emergence of Wichita State and Gonzaga. And I'm not sure what is a mid-major anymore anyways. But there's an opportunity for 32 conferences to send their automatic qualifiers to the tournament. That's still determined by the conferences as to how that happens. And then the committee's job is to select the 36 best at-large teams, regardless of what conference they play in.
So how do you balance the mid-majors against, let's take care of the media people, Syracuse and Northwestern, who everybody's asking about on the bubble sort?
Right, and that's a challenge. And again, it's the 36 best teams based upon results. So we look at all the results. We look at wins, losses. And I really think the term mid-major is something that there are teams that used to have that moniker that don't anymore, right, and yet still very much in the discussion about the tournament. At one point, Gonzaga,
I was just going to say,
was thought of as a mid-major, and I don't think anybody at this point would ever use that term with Gonzaga.
Yeah, the sweet little underdog story for Gonzaga Butler, that's long been gone. Let's talk about Big East tournament. Obviously, your family, great history, your dad, the pioneer. Does it still not feel, you mentioned the conference realignment, it's still great, but does it still not feel exactly the same to you, especially having grown up with it?
Well, it's certainly very different, but that's the nature of our business. It evolves and changes over time. This is the 35th anniversary, I think, of the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden, and the history is just unbelievable, so rich. Of course, the Syracuse-Georgetown rivalry in particular was one that helped to bring all the attention to that tournament over the years, and that's unfortunately no longer part of it. The Syracuse will be playing in the Barclays Center in the ACC with Notre Dame and Pittsburgh and Carolina and Duke and others too. So this is a very exciting time for the New York metropolitan area to have two big-time tournaments like that at Barclays Center and at Madison Square Garden. Of course, our tournament in the NCAA tournament will be back here in just a few weeks' time for the East Regionals at Madison Square Garden. And last year we had the first and second rounds at Barclays. So pretty exciting area for college basketball.
It's always a great thing when the tournament's at the Garden. How does the ACC tournament in New York feel to you guys?
Well, I think it's great. I think, as you look at this year going into next year, the Big Ten Conference is going to be coming to New York next year a week earlier just to have the opportunity to be part of this community in the basketball world. So as you look at the ACC here, tremendous, great conference, a lot of very, very good teams. I think it's going to be an exciting opportunity there. It's, the Big East, of course, with their history as well. So the opportunity to watch those games here in New York, we'll be bunkered down on the TVs, getting ready to build that bracket there on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoons for the announcement. So it's exciting times to be in New York.
Are you thickening the skin for what comes Sunday? You guys make the announcement, someone's always upset. Are you ready for all that?
I think you always are ready for the criticism. When you're the chair, you're representing the other 9 members that are on the committee with you. And we do our due diligence. We do a lot of work throughout the year. I think we always get to a point where the tournament is set out the right way. If you feel comfortable with that, you can take the criticism, no doubt. We love the enthusiasm.